So the topic of the week, we're going to have a little dashboard rescue segment. So, see, there's Mike. You did authorize us to use whatever likeness of you that we want. So we packed you into the Excel TV clown car, and now there's pretty much no escape. So
and as usual, I'm standing next to a pie.
Going down in flames with your 3D pie chart. All right, so
with my health and my 3D pie chart.
Our brave little Excel TV elves, the research team, has spent the last 5 grueling minutes before the show finding examples of dashboards that and data visualizations that really could use a little bit of rescue. So with all the expertise on the panel, we're going to introduce some of the worst offenders that we found and kind of have a discussion around, what would Stephen Few do? How can we stop these crimes against data viz, right? So here are just a few. As you know, there are many out there in the world, and it was hard to choose. But for example, education, this came from a British newspaper that shall not be named, trying to do some sort of analysis on the percentage of education levels of some population or another. So what do you guys think about this on a scale of 1 to 10? How terrible is this in terms of representing or the message that they're trying to send, which is something about 3% of the population is post-grad, 17% high school, and so on. How terrible is it?
It's about a 3. One of the things that really bugs me just kind of right off the bat is they aren't in any sort of sequential order. So you're trying to tell a story that post-grad, is something better than college, better than high school, et cetera, but not in a sequential order that would really draw you to that. You have to go looking for it. And if you have to go looking for it, then it's probably defeating the purpose.
Right. So what do you guys think, Jordan, Mike? How bad is it?
It's probably a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I mean, there's that obvious problem, is that the numbers really do not match with the bubbles and their bubble charts.
Right.
And it's unclear. It's just total. It's not entirely clear what they're trying to convey here, or why there was any data visualization being used, since they could have gotten away with just labels. They didn't need bubbles.
Yeah. So my problem with this is it looks like an ice cream sandwich is telling me what to do with my life. I don't like ice cream sandwiches yelling at me. You got to go to high school and then college and then postgrad. I think this would have been much better served as a simple bar chart, ordered sequentially, as Rick said. Clip art in dashboards is it's a very tricky thing. It's got to be really done well if it's going to be done at all. And and all those colors, they look like VB colors. So I don't know.
I would agree. I think it might have something to do with the fact that people seem to be really into the idea of infographics, and because they just, again, they think it's cool, and then without actually thinking about what kind of message it's sending, they just want to do something that looks infographic-esque.
Yeah,
that's my
infographic. But if you're going to select a book, make something look like. Pick a thing that looks like a book. I mean, I don't know what that is. It looks like a handless person is trying to grab his ice cream sandwich.
But that's the thing right now, is the whole handless, flat ice cream sandwich looking thing.
Right.
I mean, that is in.
It's very in vogue.
So the moral is story.
Yeah, hands are out, man. Hands are just so 5 minutes ago.
Okay. So the moral of the story is no ice cream for this journalist.
I think that's what we're trying to say. Ice cream
All right. Is bad. All right. So sorry, British newspaper, but you are in need of rescue. Okay. So the next one that we have here, polls. So we're embarking on a fun election season coming up soon. People are all about polls, right? So, again, with the infographics, you've got no at 13% in red, and the green, 87% in green. I mean, what do you guys? Do you think somebody just was asleep on the job on this one, or how terrible is it? I mean, I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You guys are just useless.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm pretty lazy. I'm never gonna read the stuff on the left. I'm getting sleepy just reading it. It looks like if someone drew a picture of my grandfather yelling at me after watching Fox News. This is what it would look like. I don't like this. And the 1900 looks very much like a year. I'm pretty much a monkey. I can't. It's too many words.
Right. I would agree.
Yeah.
Jordan, what would you do? What would you do to rescue this thing? I mean, does it even need a graphic at all? I would say just erase it. 8713. That's all you need, right? I mean, what's with the donut?
What's with the donut? That's what my wife asks me every morning.
Ice cream sandwiches and donuts. I'm noticing a trend here, Mike.
What's with the donut?
And this is an older one, and you can tell it's an older one because you see over here, it says, was the AFL too tough on the Demon? See, it took me a second to figure this out, but those are 1-900 numbers. So, man, they must have been voting. Ugh, man.
Oh, those were phone numbers?
That really makes me dislike it, yeah. But see, it's very clear as you look at this.
I thought that was data.
I thought it was too. It just dawned on me what that was. But yeah, no, this just shows our weird obsession with donuts. It's like, there's not enough context on the outside, so we got put a little context on the inside, say what the total is. Or if you want to be particularly cheeky, you can put just a little icon in there. Since we're talking about sports, you could just put a football in there.
The shocking thing is this kind of stuff gets printed and in newspapers and websites and.
I'll jump in with some thoughts on that as well. One of the things that kind of concerned me right off the bat is there's two questions that are on the page.
Right.
And so there's the top question that says, do women's sports, let me make sure everybody can see it. Do women's sports deserve as much sponsorship? So I thought that was the question.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize until you go a little, because, assuming you're trying to get down to the 1-900 number to call a friend, then you see there's another question. So even past the red and the green and everything else, it's...
Right, we don't even know which question the graphic pertains to.
Right.
Based on this.
Right.
And that's the thing, right? With dashboards, it should be, or data viz, it should be instantly obvious. That's why we use these visual elements, right?
And donuts.
And so,
another
just so everyone knows, I was joking when I said put an icon in there. I don't think I wouldn't even use the donut chart. In my book, I actually had a donut chart that was talking about donuts, and that was actually from a it was from a newspaper, but we didn't really get the release to publish it, so we had to actually change it to a graphic of a donut. But really, I don't. That part's not so interesting, except to say that we did pull from people using donut charts to represent actual donuts. And some were sprinkles on one side, and then there was one with a cake donut as another wedge of it. People just get a little crazy with this stuff. They forget that they want to make it. They forget that the data is the message, and they think that the art is the message, or the fun stuff's the message. And I suppose that probably is more fun than getting to work.
If you can call it art, I suppose. Yes, but I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready to move on? Do we give this a score? 3?
I give it a 0.
Okay. Give it a 0. All right. Can we talk about 3D pie or 3D anything really? Not just, I know a lot of data viz people hate pie charts and I get why that is, because it's it's the go-to chart. It's also the most abused kind of chart out there. But the 3D just makes it even worse, right?
Yeah, this goes back to the whole, shiny and beveled used to be good, but now we're going at flat. This just looks old. I mean, forget about all the nuances about you can't tell which slice is bigger. At some point, there's that, but more importantly, it looks very 1996, 1995, right? If you are still using 3D, go away from it because the top thing looks like a hat. Is that someone's hat? It looks like a dashiki. But in any case, I'm going to say 3D is not only out because it gives you bad data. You can't see the actual pie slices. I'm going to say it's also very, very old. It's like wearing the one white glove on your hand when you go to work with the gems on it and moonwalking into work. Nobody does that anymore, right?
Right. But the monocle is still in, thankfully.
Monocle, yes.
Does anybody know why did the Microsoft Excel team ever think 3D was a good idea? Because I don't think it was even a good idea.
It was a good idea
in the 90s.
sometime.
You do? You think it was?
Yeah, I think at some point, when everybody was using these Harvard graphics where everything was flat, it just probably looked. Look, you got to put yourself in the time of that.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know why anybody thought those hoop dresses back in the 1800s, where it makes everybody's butt look huge, was awesome. But apparently someone did, right? So this 3D stuff, it was probably mind blowing at some time. It was almost like saying, "Hey, look what we can do. We can make things pop out."
Right.
And then next thing you know, you have backwards compatibility. It survives. And then all
Right.
these old people creating dashboards. They insist on living and working, right?
God, they're so selfish.
So Sylvia, I'll give this a -10, and only
You're
because
gonna give it a
whenever
-10.
whenever
Wow.
whenever Zach Parisi was on the show, he said, "Don't even get me started on 3D charts in Excel,"
Yeah.
and then he threatened to strangle whoever brought it up or something like that. It was
Wow.
violent, I believe. So yeah, -10 for me, Zach. -10.
-10.
I think this was at a time when they were trying to really show the market share of Windows. I mean, that's probably when it all sort of started. That it's like they almost certainly did not care about the data visualization when they came up with this. They thought, we now have an engine that can handle 3D and it can handle tints, and it can handle
Right.
surfaces, all this other stuff, and that was part of selling it. And I think people actually looked at it and was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
That's right. They were showing off the technology they had.
Right.
I mean, if
And
you
it's
look back at
the
the
just because we can kind of school of thought, right? So hopefully
So,
there'll
like,
be less of that in the future with Microsoft, reaching out to the community a little bit more. I'm saying it sort of. I could be
One
wrong.
day,
if you
one day
look-
3D will be back in, So we might.
Okay. Well,
for-
-10. I think we've exhausted the 3D pie,
All
so
right.
let's talk about Venn diagrams. Where do you fall on this one in particular is pretty sad. Reuters. This is the Thomson Reuters Venn diagram.
I don't know if people realize why this is so funny. This is hilarious. This is basically saying that 95% of the people at Reuters,
Right.
their values don't include trust, partnership, innovation, and performance.
Right.
Why is this a Venn diagram? You should just.
It's all
I don't think it was meant to be.
Trying to do a Venn diagram.
I don't know if they realize
Pretty
how funny this is. Our value should be deep into that other big circle, right? Why is that even a Venn diagram?
Exactly. So the point is, if this one makes you laugh immediately, you are a true nerd. But yes, I agree with you, Mike. It's pretty bad. So if you don't know what a Venn diagram is, don't use one.
Yeah, I don't think a Venn diagram is necessarily bad to use in a dashboard, but it has to really, the context has to fit into it, right?
Right.
And mainly Venn diagrams are good for presentations and PowerPoints and things like that. So I don't necessarily know that this was a dashboard per se. I think that it was a piece of advertising or some sort of a marketing swag, and someone just missed the boat on this one. That's hilarious.
Definitely. It is a good one. All right, so we love that one. All right, let's talk about color schemes. This one is really bad. I even had to add the legend up top here because you can't really, I'm sure you can't read these tiny little call outs here. But this was a, not even sure who did this, but basically what you have here on the horizontal axis, you have the years 1990 through 2010, and then you've got percentages going up and down the y-axis, proportion of total U.S. internet traffic, and then you've got your, email, web, peer-to-peer, and so on. This is terrible. Looks terrible to me. But what could we do to rescue that? Would this not make? Is this not good for a simple bar chart, or how would you?
Proportion. I think proportion fill charts like that are just horrible. You might as well just put it into a pie chart. I'd probably even like that better, and I wouldn't like the pie chart. To me, it just blows on all levels.
Yeah. The area chart, and it's 3D, and the colors are terrible. So I can't find anything really good to say about this one.
Except for it does look like Jordan Goldmeyer's Excel maze that he created.
Or it looks like one of those
That's
colored sand things, that like at hippie weddings, when you you have the purple sand, and then your partner comes along and adds the orange sand, and you kind of
What's the point of the shadows? There's no reason for those shadows, and the access doesn't really seem to start at 0. I can't really tell if it's starting at 0 or if there's negative proportions there. And
yeah, nobody can tell. It's weird.
I think you got to go line chart with this. I mean, I think you got to just turn it all into line charts, and you can even put it on the same one and see what the comparison is.
Yeah, I agree. Was this a paint? Is this a painting? Wait, what is this? Is this actually a chart?
We found this. We found this.
It's an ant farm.
It's very South Parky. It looks like construction paper on top of each other. I like the whole what they were going for. I think that this would be better off as a painting. This looks like something you would see on your bank's wall when you're trying to get a loan because you lost your job creating dashboards.
And like it's like something you could buy at the the art gallery at the shopping mall. The guy with the afro. Who's that guy?
Or at the Stuckey's on I-95 after you buy your pecan roll.
All right.
And your Johnny Cash pillow.
So do we even give this do we give it a 1 for for originality or for effort?
It's a 8 for corporate art. It's a 1 for a dashboard.
I could see that hanging on the cubicle behind you there, Mike.
Oh yeah.
All right, I think we might have one more in here. So.
This is my favorite.
Oh
one.
yes.
I love this one.
The space race. Okay, so there's a whole lot of information here that they are attempting to convey. Now, I have relatives that work at NASA, and this truly looks like something they would probably put together. But there's just, I mean, it's. What would you do? I don't know that you could even convey this much information in one. Isn't this a classic example of way too much information on a single page?
Well, first off, it looks to me like
events.
Yeah, it looks to me like the Donkey Kong maze. I expect Donkey Kong to be at the top throwing barrels down, trying to crush people.
I think what I think the first thing you could do is, and if you look down at the bottom, everything's on the side. I think you remove all this because what's hilarious about some of these is that they don't even, there's no reason for them to be on here as far as the space race is concerned. So there's Civil Rights Act was packed, Malcolm X assassinated, the first Super Bowl, and I know that there's another one. I can't really find it right here, but it was like women begin wearing pants at work. That's a real one under there if you can find it.
I can't even find it. That's the thing. You can't even find it.
It's
unclear. Yeah.
Why these
JFK proposes a commitment to the land. I don't know what half of it has to. So anyway, what would you do? What if you want? Would you just do a simple line?
Well, I would. You could turn this into an infographic, and it'd be much more appealing. Just make it very, very long. Just a JPEG. It feels like it was made at a time where they were trying to shove everything into this one sheet of paper. It looks to me like the map of the subway system in Washington D.C. and you got the red line and the blue line, and they're racing towards Anacostia.
Right.
I think you send this to space. I think it goes back from.
And it just
So this would be today in today's world. I don't know when this was made. I'm assuming 1957. But listen,
the chart only goes to 1975. See at the top here, it's 57 through 75. So who knows? Oh, and I guess red and blue for Russia and U.S. Okay.
I'm a professional. I think what I would do is just turn it into a infographic, make it very visual appealing, and then put it on one of those candy sites.
Okay. All right. Well, those were some of the worst offenders. So thank you for your feedback there.